Greetings, everyone. Linda Talaferro from the T, the Extra Effort. It is Transformational Tuesday. And tonight I'm going to talk about something that's probably not foreign to you. If you've been following me for a while, you've heard me talk about this. But I'm revisiting it tonight because, as I've said before, it's a critical aspect that I know for a fact that a number of us throughout our career dismiss. And I know for me early on in my career, I did. I dismissed it. I totally didn't have time for it. It was not a thing. And if it was a thing, I had no interest in understanding what that thing was because I always said in my career, and I know as soon as I say this, some of you are going to relate to it. I ain't come to work to make friends. It's not why I'm here. I'm here to get the job done. I'm here because I'm good at what I do. I didn't come to work to make friends. And my hard head had to learn the hard way why that was the absolutely wrong approach in my career. The absolutely wrong approach, hands down. And I had to learn the hard way. So that's why, I'm here for you. I'm here for you so that you don't have to learn these things the hard way. So let me specify what I mean by about being liked. What do I mean by being liked? Because immediately, I know you're thinking, just like what I said a few minutes ago. You're thinking like I thought. Linda, I got friends. That they're not at work. I didn't come to work to make friends. Somebody said to me recently, it's nobody's business. They stay out of my business. I ain't sharing my business. I'm not getting into this, that, and the other. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about having a BFF at work. I'm not talking about sharing the details, your most intimate details. That's not what I'm talking about when I say being liked matters. Look, fundamentally, we all know this. Corporations, companies, teams, environments made up of people. Bottom line. And if you want to get from point A to point B in your career, it's going to take people. People make those decisions. And what I have found to be, frankly, the only way to establish a level of trust, because that's key in trying to climb this corporate ladder, establishing a level of trust is that people have to have a level of comfort. That's really what it boils down to when I'm talking about being liked. And in order for them to establish a level of comfort so that they can get to a level of trust, is that they have to get to know you and therefore like you. So I just want to be clear, it has absolutely nothing to do with best friends or making or having friends or evolving, getting down to the nitty gritty of who you are and sharing all your deep, dark secrets. Zero to do with that. But what it does have to do with, and it's these three things I want to step through today on Transformational Tuesday, what it has to do with first is understanding your corporate culture. Sometimes when we hear the word culture or we hear the word workplace politics, it's bad news for us. But let me tell you, all it means is how do things get done? And the way how things get done is who gets them done. Who in your organization are the needle movers? Who are the people that are able to drive initiatives? Who are the people that other people listen to? Who are the people that tend to be in the right room at the right time? And that's not always determined by somebody's title on a business card. So don't let that fool you either. Titles are nice. They're really pretty on business cards, but those are not necessarily the people who are critical in a company culture and that are integral in the company culture. So you pay attention. You got to start opening your eyes, opening your ears, putting your nose to the pavement, the water cooler talk, listening or whatever, paying attention to who they are because they make up the culture of how things get done. And so, say for instance, you are in the culture that, I don't know, usually a lot of committees are formed in order to make decisions on, moving forward. Well, that's how things get done in your environment. Or there are a lot of teams that are formed that are go off and handle initiatives or projects. Well, you are in a corporate space with a culture that is heavily team engaged, team reliant, and that's how things get moving. And in those teams, are there certain individuals that tend to always be the leader of the team, or there's certain individuals that seem to have the are the go-tos when things are decided upon. And so once you understand your corporate culture, how do things get done? And within that culture, who are the stakeholders? Who are the key needle movers? The next thing you want to do is understand how important it is to build the relationships. How do people get to know you? Establish that comfort level so they can build the trust. That is through building relationships. How do you do that? You connect through one-on-ones. I know for some people that's like, I am not trying to get on somebody's calendar that I don't know, or back to the title thing again. Oh, it's a vice president, or they're a director, or they're this. They're not going to want to talk to me. Put all that aside. We all put our dresses and pants on the same way, skirts on the same way. They, again, like I said in the beginning, they're people. And people are rooted in some level of connection. And they want to establish a comfort level so they can trust you when it's time to put you in that position for leading that initiative. They can't do it. Well, put it this way. Yes, they could. They could do it by listening to other people. Absolutely. You could let other people write your narrative. I highly recommend you do not do that. Highly recommend you control the narrative about yourself. And the best way to do it is for you to be front and center, and for you to be building those relationships with those individuals. And you do it via one-on-ones. And after you have the first one or the second one, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they're going to start to say, hey, if there's anything else you want to talk about, feel free, pop on my calendar, or let's get together in a couple of weeks. I'd like to share this with you or that with you. And before you know it, those one-on-ones might turn into a lunch date. Those one-on-ones might turn into meeting for coffee. Those one-on-ones might turn into whatever else. And you're building a relationship of which you are starting to establish that comfort level, that trust. And what does that look like down the road? That looks like them being in a room and a decision's being made and your name pops up, and that individual who you build a relationship with, that is part of the company culture of moving things forward, says, I like her. Yeah, I know her. I like her. Their like is based on the level of comfort and the fact that they've gotten to know you, they've seen the work you've done, coupled with the person you are, trust, boom. And they're like, yes, I think that's a good idea. Or your name doesn't come up and they bring it up. That's what it looks like. So the first 2 ways, one, establishing the understanding and establishing the company culture, know how things get done and who gets them done. The other one is building your one-on-one relationships. And last but not least, number 3 is you have to be intentional and committed to this thing. I mean, look, guys, I've said this over and over again. The reason why I named this thing that I love and with all my heart am passionate about, this career advisory firm, the extra effort, the reason why I called it that is because it takes work. There's no doubt about it. It takes work. So the third and most critical thing, you've got to be intentional and committed to doing number 1 and number 2, and staying with it. Because when you are intentional, committed, and you exercise the methodologies and strategies, things unfold, they happen, the needle moves for you. And you are then put in positions and opportunities that you seek out and that you've desired to have. So being liked, why does it matter? Because it is everything. You know, John Maxwell, which those of you also that have been following me for a while, know that I like John Maxwell. And his definition of leadership is influence. Matter of fact, you can see it printed in a lot of places that he has written either books or quotes. Leadership is influence, period. And I agree with him, because how else do you truly lead people, lead initiatives? They have to believe in you. They have to be inspired and motivated. Where does that come from? A level of comfort and trust. You can't influence anyone that is not comfortable with you and doesn't trust you. Therefore, if you can't influence them, you're not going to lead them, and therefore you're not in a leadership role. These things all tie together. So being liked does matter. And once you understand completely what it means, and the fact that it may sound daunting and it may sound challenging, it may even sound impossible. And once you try just once or twice these 3 steps I've given you today, and you start to see how things shift in the right direction, you'll realize that it wasn't as big of a deal as you initially thought it to be. And what you don't want to be is me, who didn't learn this until well into their career, which is why I'm giving you these nuggets every Transformational Tuesday to help reduce the walls that you run into, or the landmines to help you avoid the landmines. Because I've hit them, and this was one that early in my career, I was hell bent on not going to work to make friends. And had I learned this lesson a little earlier, I should say, it wouldn't have been as long of a career journey for me to my seat at the table. So after you listen to this, start about being liked. Clearly, I guarantee you'll have impactful change in your corporate ladder journey. So I'm going to pop in a link that you can connect with me. Love to talk with you. It'll give you a scheduling piece you can pop on my calendar. Would love it. Would also love for you to join me in my Facebook group. All you have to do is the Tea with Linda out on Facebook, and you can find me. All right? Have a great one. See you next week.